G'day everyone, welcome to Aussievision. My name is Craig, that's Liv, Cooper and Emma on your screen right now, and we are here to talk about the truly ungodly number of national finals coming up this week. We have many, it feels like every single country in Europe is doing a national final this week, and so we're just going to be taking our thoughts and providing our thoughts on some of the bigger ones happening, the ones that are actually picking songs for Eurovision. In this video, we will be talking about Ukraine, Norway and Malta. And then later this week, if you're wanting to hear about good old Benidorm Fest down in Spain, we will have another video coming where you can hear our thoughts about how we think things are going to go down there. Without any further ado, let's dive straight into it. There's a lot to cover. The first national final we're going to be talking about tonight is Ukraine. It is Vidbir, always a highlight of the Eurovision calendar. But guys, it feels like this year, everyone's sort of agreed on a winner. The odds have a favorite. The Aussievision team has a favorite. And it is Jerry Heil and Aliona with their song Teresa and Maria. Now, this is a big favorite. I'm even hearing like winner chat about this one. Cooper, what do you think of this song?
Yeah, when I first heard all the list of songs in this one stood out so fast. It is just so good. I was a fan of Jerry's last two entries, and she keeps coming back with something different, which is exciting. It's easy to tell why it's the runaway favorite. It is contemporary, yet still giving that kind of Eurovision flair to it. It's been dominating streaming. I think it's got like 4 times the amount of the next person down, and I just can so happy it's getting the praise that it should be getting.
Yeah, definitely agree. What about you, Liv? Are you a big fan of this one?
I'm a huge fan. I think this is gonna win in a canter, a landslide, etc. Jerry's got it this time because last time she competed, I was like, she's got it that time. But anyway, the pair has got it this time. But honestly, it takes a bit for me to like on first listen with an entry feel something visceral. And straight away I sat up and I was like, what is this? Like, I can't understand all of it, but you get the feeling immediately and it really sticks with you. And it's a really special entry, and I really hope it wins.
Yeah, I agree with all that as well. Emma, are you on the same track? I feel like a broken record, but are you love it as well?
I am. This stood out to me straight away from the 11 Ukrainian songs we have this year. And what I did like about it is I found myself actually singing it at work to myself a couple of days later after only a couple of listens. So I thought, okay, if I've got the tune stuck in my head, obviously there's something about this that's some stickability. It's got a really great hook. It's got that Ukrainian sound to it. So it sounds, it sounds authentic, but it does sound contemporary at the same time. And the merging, you've got Jerry Heil, who's such a great vocalist, with the rapping parts of Alona. It really just stood on at another level to me, and I think I can see why it's the overwhelming favourite. And if that was to win, I think that would go straight to the top of my ranking so far.
Yeah, can't disagree with anything that has been said. Just to throw in perhaps a more critical voice, the first time I heard this, loved it, thought it had a great melody and it really fitted together. But to me, it felt like 3 minutes of like a longer song. I was almost like wanting it to go on for like 5 or 6 minutes, and it felt like it was really building somewhere, and then it just ended. But after a few listens, I definitely got the sort of feel for the structure of it. It's sort of got the chorus, then you go to the rap, and then it comes back to the chorus for a big finish. And now I just am so into this. I have also caught myself humming it. That chorus melody just really gets caught in your head, and I can just see it lifting live. I think this is going to become really dramatic and really memorable on the stage on the weekend for anyone who actually wants to get up and watch it here in Australia. But there are actually 10 other songs in this national final, despite the fact that there is a sort of dominant favorite, and many of them are really good. So Emma, why don't you tell us about another song that you're really passionate about in Vidbir this year?
Yeah, so that was Halala by Anka, which is also what struck out to me, another very Ukrainian sounding straight away, but it's a bit of a more whimsical, folky kind of track. Didn't have quite the immediate punch that Teresa and Maria has, but I still really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed. It's similar to Cabbage Orchestra in the way that the use of the flute that this also uses, which is so synonymous with Ukraine. I liked how it was sort of woven in, but still sounded like it didn't sound like a daggy folk tune, basically. So that was the one that stood out to me that I thought might have a small outside chance. of doing something. Yeah.
Everyone's already made it through a wild card round, so it's sort of tried and tested now, and that there is a market for this, and people do like
Yes.
this song. So yeah, I can see that one doing really well. What about you, Cooper? Is there a song that's leaping up to you?
Yeah, I want to talk about Melvin, returning Eurovision artist. So we do definitely have to talk about him. I think Dreamer is by far so much better than the 2018 song. The only reason I don't have it in the top is because first listen, I was like, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of different moments in this song. When you re-listen, you finally kind of figure out what is going on when. And it is such a good song. Like it's current. It keeps building and building and building the whole way. I think that one's going to be really fun live if he can pronounce his words, because we know that's a bit of an issue for him.
I'm a big fan of the 2018 entry, and I don't know if this one quite gets there for me, but I do have a lot of fondness for it. It sort of gives me that, back when Sergei Lazarev was a thing before he became sort of problematic. It really reminds me of like the peak of the Sergei days. So I'm a big fan of this one as well. Liv, what about you? What's your favorite other than Jerry and Eliana?
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of, and I'm not sure whether it's Yak Tak or Yak Tak, but since I'm Aussie, I'm going to say Yak Tak with La La La. And, usually when I listen to Vidbir, I'm after like the really folky kind of serious kind of entries. But honestly, I just like a little bit of pop fluff, La 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 La. Yeah, it's stuck in my head. Done. He's good looking. Love it.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of Stromae back in the day, like Alors on Danse. There's that sort of like sax hook. I'm really into that one. I think it might be one of my favorites as well. But just to highlight one other myself as well, big fan of is it Yagodi with Tsunamia, the sort of like folk ensemble. It really, like we've seen this folk ensemble thing done a few times now at Eurovision in the last couple of years, but there's a real like power behind this one, and I find it builds really effectively to something quite dramatic. So I'm sort of expecting some quite elaborate staging from this entry on Sunday, which could really, take it to the next level. Vidbir will be on this weekend in Australia at, I think, some horrific hour, like 2 or 3 in the morning. I will not be getting up to watch it, but credit to anyone who does. And I look forward to seeing the results and watching the performances when I do wake up. But it'll be very exciting to see if Jerry and Aliona can triumph. If they do, final point, if they do make it to Eurovision, people are talking about this as a potential Eurovision winner. So, just a yes or a no, maybe a quick comment. But Liv, do you reckon they could do it?
Nah, but
No?
I think it could do very well.
Yeah, that's fair. Cooper?
There's no concern in the song. I don't know if it's winning. Right now, with the songs we have, easily the best, but I don't think it's a winner of Eurovision.
That's fair. Emma?
Yeah, I would have to totally agree with what Cooper said there. It's definitely, I think, the best of the songs that we've got so far. I think it could be an outside chance, but yeah, I don't automatically listen to it and say it's winning, but I think it could definitely be top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm expecting this one, if it does win, to jump straight to the top of all the fan rankings. Wouldn't surprise me if something else could come along to topple it. But hey, stranger things have happened, and I could see it also still being there at the end of the season. But will be very exciting to see. That's enough about Ukraine. Time to move to our next national final, which is in fact Norway. Now, Norway have been entertaining us for the last 3 weeks with 3 massive semi-finals, including some massive returning acts. And one of those is, of course, fan favorites, Kino. Now, there has been a bit of, dispute about whether maybe they've come back one too many times, but this is still a really strong entry, which was performed really well in the 3rd semi-final. Liv, what are your thoughts on Kino's 3rd attempt at Eurovision?
Well, I, for one, love any entry that has a cardiac related rhythm attached to it. And like as a healthcare worker, it's kind of just like, it just does something for me. And the live, can I just say, is better than the studio. And come back every year, kind of. I don't give up. Come back. I love you.
Emma, what about you? Are you backing Kino this year?
I was until I saw the running order. They have been given the number 1 slot, which concerns me a little bit. But I was really impressed by the live performance. You're right, it was much better than the studio version. I was blown away by how they sold the concept on stage, and Alex's vocals were amazing. As someone who's lucky enough to have seen them perform live when they came out a couple of years ago, she can sing, and she absolutely showed off her voice in that performance that we saw last weekend. So I think it's definitely that I think it's between them and then one of our other artists, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, I think they can do it, but given that they've been given the opening slot, it's going to be an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, I must admit my heart sank a little bit when I saw that opening
Yeah.
slot. Like traditionally not, you can do well from there, but traditionally you don't expect a winner to come from the slot. But Cooper, do you think this is strong enough to do it anyway?
Yeah, that slot is concerning, seeing as we saw in the three semis, the qualifiers are always the last three. So putting them right at the start, it is concerning. But this song is just so good. It is hitting the zeitgeist of the moment. Every national final has like a Euro dance, Aqua-esque kind of song. This is this. It's just perfection. I'm a Kino stan all the way through. But I am worried about its chances in this competition, especially when we've got some real heavy hitters coming through from the semi-live performances. I think the staging, I like the staging. It does feel a bit disjointed for 2 minutes of the song, and then it has this really good moment, and then we finish off well. That's my only like critique with it. But yeah, it's just such a good song, isn't it? That's my song that's going through my head every day.
I don't blame you. It is sort of caught in my head. I will second it feeling a little bit disjointed, and there's something about this that feels very like Alexandra featuring Tom and Fred, which I kind of missed when they were more sort of connected as a group, and I don't think the staging helps that. But at the same time, Alex is incredible, and this is definitely, I think, of the three songs they've sent, I feel like this is almost the one that gives her the best showcase. And yeah, they've sort of gotten full Schlager with this, and I'm never going to complain about that. It's a bit Aqua, as you mentioned. There's something a little bit Alcazar about it, and I am okay with that. Like that is part of Eurovision's identity, and it's fine if people want to indulge in that and like really go hard for that Schlager aesthetic. But there is another song which appears to be getting people talking even more than Kino this year going into the final, and it is Gorta, I hope I pronounced that right, which is a sort of folk rock act. They've had to rewrite their lyrics at the last minute, apparently, because their lyrics are currently the same as a 1,000-year-old folk song, I'm led to believe. But nonetheless, this is the hot favourite with the odds. So, Cooper, do you think this is going to be the one that's taking up the trophy on Sunday?
It's sounding like it's going to be the one. Now, I'm probably going to be an outsider in this. This song does nothing for me. I'm sorry. It's just a bit meh. Like, it's just a woman screaming, and it's just not for me. And I think in the current lineup of songs we have right now, we have a lot of these more darker, more ethnic influence songs, alternative songs. So I wouldn't want this to go, but I understand why it would. But that's just me being cynical.
Love a controversial take to get us started. Liv, are you going to give us a more positive take, or you're in the same sort of undecided basket as Cooper?
Yes and no. So the studio, I totally get. And I know there's been a lot of discussion also on Twitter about people saying, oh, it's like really jarring. It sounds like she's singing out of tune, and then other people defending it being like, no, it's meant to sound like that. No. So in the studio, there is a lot of dissonance happening, which is that fluctuation of the sounds that kind of grates for a moment, but then it gets resolved. And that's fine. It's a very folky kind of thing that you can do. And that singing style, I actually do really like. The problem is, however, in that live performance that I heard, it wasn't 100%. So when you got dissonance, the notes are all sitting a bit closer together. If you're slightly off on the pitch, it actually, for someone like me who's got relative pitch perfectness, it actually hurt to hear it. And I don't know if I'm in like a really niche boat on that. But for me, I couldn't actually enjoy the live performance because from a technical point of view, it was just on the edge of not quite being in tune enough. So if she can fix up that live, send it, love it, feel it, I get it. But for me, there was a few technical related things to do with the performance that actually made it really hard for me to enjoy it.
God dang it, Liv, you stole all my comments. I was going to say there's definitely like, there's deliberate dissonance and then there's like accidental dissonance. And I think, I'm not going to say it's all accidental dissonance here, but there are moments where it slips towards that in the live performance. And if she can tidy that up and give us like that conscious dissonance, then I'm excited to see where this goes. But Emma, sorry, what are your thoughts on Gorta? Can you see this taking?
I can. I'm with Cooper in that this does nothing for me at all, particularly based on the studio version. I think I had it on the bottom of my rankings. But then when I watched it live, I was actually blown away by the performance, what they do with the visuals, the whole feeling and concept. I thought, okay, I can see why this has made the final. And I understand the momentum that it's getting. But so I think it's either them or Kano, I think, for the win. I think they've got a pretty good chance. But my concern, once again, is that we already have a track from Ireland, which is a little bit similar to this. And I think if it was to go to Eurovision, the votes could cancel each other out a little bit. I think maybe Kano would do better at Eurovision. But I think certainly they had a great package with what they put up in the semi-final. So if they come back, it'll be interesting to see how they go with those lyrics that with their reworded song, and see if that makes any difference.
Sorry, unexpected guess there. I agree with a lot of what you just said there as well. I actually am with Liv that I really liked the studio track here. I then sort of have mixed feelings about the live. I think it probably will win. And I think it'll probably be a big fan favorite. I don't know if I love it. And I also agree with Emma that there's I'm expecting a sort of lot of alternative sort of stuff in this year's Eurovision. And I just am concerned that some of them are going to start cancelling each other out, as Emma said, if we get a few too many of them. So we'll see how we go. But I must admit that I would rather this wins than a certain other song which is participating this year, and that is the infamous My AI. We'll keep it quick on this one, guys. But are you a fan of Super Rob, or are you rather that Super Rob sticks to the internet? Emma.
I'm sitting on the fence a little in that I enjoyed the performance at the time, but it's not something that I feel any sort of compulsion to watch again. I think it's very novelty. So obviously, AI is the topic of the moment in every aspect of our lives at the moment. So it was going to come up at Eurovision eventually. But yeah, I sort of enjoyed the performance for what it was, but it's too novelty from my liking. Yeah, I don't think it would do very well if it was to unexpectedly win.
That's valid. Liv?
This feels like a response to many things, right? AI, just memes in general, Barbie, Lazy Town, I don't know. But it's kind of just crack. I don't know. I love it. It's just completely bonkers. The suit looks great. I don't know, that little all that stuff that whoever's in that thing is doing, it's compelling. I can't take my eyes off that big suit thing. So I actually have just written here, I would be satisfied with this winning. So I wouldn't say that that's a rousing, response, but I would be happy if it won.
I'm here for that, and I think there's a part of me that might be a bit satisfied deep down, a part of me that I don't want to own up to in public. But Cooper, what about you? Are you on My AI stan?
Well, this song, when I first heard it, I was like, wow, this is actually really bad. But I've kind of forced myself to like it. It's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome. You're just like, wow, this is kind of fun. And then when I saw the live, I went, no, wait, this is bad. But I also would kind of be satisfied seeing it with it win. I think the difference was, if we look at Give That Wolf a Banana, I enjoyed that from the get-go. It was kind of clever. This is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But this is Eurovision. I don't care if your song's ridiculous. So I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I also keep going back to the Get That Wolf a Banana thing, because I'm I liked that. I enjoyed that. But then when I first heard this, I had an almost visceral loathing rise up in me, soup just expelling out of all my orifices. And I just loathe this. I despise it. It is everything that I hate. And I just deep down, maybe I'd be amused to see it go, but that's my worst impulses. And I'm not going to let the dark side win on this one. So Norway, please don't indulge my worst impulses. I don't want My AI. Just as a lightning round before we move on to our last topic for discussion tonight, what's one other song that you're going to be watching out for this weekend? Cooper?
Mine's Oblivion with Margaret. She's back after 11 years. The staging, bit weird. The office costumes, strange. But it's such a good studio track. It's got such a good, like, dark, Scandi pop production to it. It's just so good. So that's mine I'm looking for.
Yeah, love that one. Emma?
Mine is Ingrid Yasmin and Aya, I think we pronounce it. Yes. Which is a bit of a not very Norwegian sounding song at all. It's got a touch of the Middle Eastern ethno beat happening. The live performance wasn't really what I was expecting from the studio, but it was entertaining, and it's a song that I enjoy listening to. I don't think it's got any chance of winning, but I think she'll do a really good job.
That one feels like a Greek entry from like the 2000s,
Yes.
but like pitched into 2024, and I'm kind of here for that. But Liv, what's the other song you're going to be keeping an eye out for?
Well, I'm just going to say my own thing because I can. Women's Show from the semi-finals was absolutely robbed. Like, I've listened to that non-stop. My fiance bloody loves it. Can I just say the best bit of Women's Show was actually the chorus with the blokes and the fact that there was two blokes and one chick. What kind of women's show was this? But anyway, I don't care. The whole package was absolutely stunning. We are just absolutely robbed of not seeing this in the final. I'm so angry.
I know that Kyriakos nearly had like a mental breakdown when that one did qualify. So I'm also a bit sad that we're not going to be seeing the women's show one more time. But my one that I'm going to be looking out for this weekend is actually Mia with Green Lights. I think it's quite classy and it's sort of restrained, and I thought that the staging really worked for it. They go from quite quiet verses, and then they have like the literal green lights showing up in the right moments, and it all just sort of works, and it makes me feel things, which is something that I don't think a lot of the Norwegian acts this year are necessarily going for. A lot of them want to be fun and memorable, but not a lot of them are going for like, emotion, and she is, and I appreciate that. But that's our thoughts on Norway. We've got one more national final to discuss tonight, and in my view, this is the most important national final of the year, in my view, and absolutely nobody else's. It is, of course, MESC, the Malta Eurovision Song Contest. We have worked our way down from however many acts they had to start with today at the start, and now we've got 12 left. We will be getting some music videos later this week, I believe, but currently we're just going off the live performances. But off those live performances, there is a clear favourite with the odds, if it can be trusted. And that favourite is Mr. Matt Blsk of Malta with his song Banana. It's an interesting song. Cooper, are you feeling the banana? Sorry. Are you going? Are you going for the banana?
Let's just. I really hope none of you say any good things about this, because it is awful. I'm sorry, it is awful. It is horrible. The first time I listened to it, my jaw was just on the ground. I was like, this is actually garbage. The only thing I can say good about it is that it's like a car crash, like a really bad car crash on the side of the road, and you kind of need to slow down just to keep watching it because you know how bad it is and you just want to see. That's this song. I'm sorry, it's awful. I'm sorry about it. It's bad.
Liv, is the banana touching your soul?
It's absolutely penetrated my soul. I adored it. First listen, like, bro, he's tried so many times. Just send the brother. Like, give him a go. Like, Malta is good at this, can I just say? They let someone try like 100 times, and then on like the 101st try, they're like, oh, just do it. So honestly, I think it's his year.
I'm with that. I'm like, the first time Matt Black showed up, everyone was sort of like, who is this dude? And then the second time, everyone was like, actually, I'm not minding this. And this time, everyone seems to be behind him. And I think even if you don't like this, I need you to realize that Matt Black is going to show up every single year until he wins this thing. And I don't see him ever showing up with a song that is more memorable than this. And so let's get him out the way this year, even if you don't like it. And then you can try again next year. But Emma, I'll come up with some other banana joke to throw in.
Well, I'm with Cooper. I'm perplexed as to how this is the favourite. It gave me a laugh, but, yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's just like, surely, Malta is, there's obviously not a huge queue of people lining up to enter MESC this year. But you're right. Maybe they figured that, he is going to keep coming back, so let's get it out the way. And then, yeah, because I don't think we have a winner in the 10 songs that we have, or 11, sorry, a bit more than 10. Yeah, that made the final. I don't see anything else being a Eurovision winner. So maybe they figure, well, let's just send him and get it over with. But for me, it's a big no. And I think this would just be a disaster if it went to Eurovision. It's not making it out of the final.
I think you're all Philistines. I think you're all denying the power of art. This is a hymn to healthy eating. This is a hymn to embracing who you are. This is a hymn to, resisting time when he sings tiki tiki toki toki. And so the clock is just moving towards, an inevitable end of the day. I feel that. And I think that Matt Black, if he finally makes it to Eurovision, really, at the end of the day, this is going to be memorable. I think it actually stands out more than some of the other sort of alternative entries we've had this year, and I think people will remember it. And I would just like to see them have a go with this. I don't know how it'd go. I think it would either mold over it or it would completely flop. But Malta has money. I think they'll give this some decent staging, and I'm just excited to see what he does with it. I hope he kind of really plays it up. But in the Aussievision poll, Matt Black did not triumph, and there were a couple of what I'm going to call girl bops at the top. We had Arba with Sirena, which is a Maltese language sort of 2000 style bop, I'm going to call it. And then you've got Sara Benici with Loop, who is basically doing Chanel. So guys, are either of these songs speaking to you? Could you see them maybe doing a decent job for Malta? I'll start with you, Liv.
I really like Sirena. It was I like the tune, I like the Maltese language, I like the general concept, but they just look like a bunch of high school kids that were yeah, let's make a girl group and then enter this national final. And I know that they are young and they just need a bit more experience. But if you're going to compete at Eurovision, you're going to have to put your whole chest into it. You know what I mean? And at the moment, it's just not quite there. But I know that there is potential. So I just hope they step it up a bit,
Yeah, fair. Emma, I think you're a fan of Surrender, aren't you? So are you going to come to the defense of that one?
I am indeed. This is my favourite of the Maltese entries. It is a bit dated, but I love that kind of dated sort of ethno pop sound. I thought the girls harmonised really beautifully. They did lack the stage experience, but then I did my rankings based on the live audition videos. So based on all of those, a lot of the performers probably didn't have the best stage presence, but I mean they were just singing in a room, sort of, with some chairs thrown about and a bit of a fake bar happening, So I wouldn't expect that, it would look how we would expect it to look in the final and at Eurovision. But I just really enjoyed this, and thought that would be the best choice for them to send. But maybe, that was my favourite.
Yeah, and I think people have got to remember that, I think people treat those Maltese sort of early shows as being a proper national final, but really they're the Moldovan auditions, and they should be treated as such.
But slightly better.
And what you see there is not going to be what you see at the final performance later this week. So I'm expecting things to change up once we see those performances. But Cooper, are either of the girl bops standing out to you?
I like both of them. I also don't like to torture myself, so I haven't listened to these songs multiple times. I cannot remember Serena off the top of my head. I need to go back to remember it. That's my critique with it. These do have revamps, so most of the songs do. I've heard snippets of, and it does sound so much better. Loop, that one's good. That's some good music. And when you were saying, there's no winner in this, there isn't, but there is songs that could qualify. And I think that's what Malta needs to achieve. And I think Loop could definitely do that. I think Serena could do that if they do get that staging. But that's my opinion on those two.
I love Loop. I've really come around to it. She came out and she made me go slay, and she made me go yes. And I was here for the hair flicks, and she did all the things in the right places, and she can sing and she can dance. And that's all I need. I am a simple man with simple needs, and Sara Bonici is giving me what I need. And so I don't know if she'll win, but if she does, I think she'll probably do a good job. I'm expecting this one to also lift with probably some really good choreography. And I just enjoy it. Selena, I'm not as keen on, but I think it is a little bit dated, and I don't really get it caught in my head. But Loop, I'm really here for. Now, guys, time is running short, so I'm going to ask you very quickly, are there any other songs that you think could challenge for the win this week in Malta? Liv.
I really like Ryan Hilly and Karma. Like anthemic, it makes me want to like punch the wall and then like run 50Ks. Like it's just, there's something about it. Best vocals, I would say, of that national final from what we've seen so far.
I think a big deal in Malta. I think you can never rule out Ryan Healy in a Maltese national final, expecting big things from him. Emma.
For me, it's Denise with Mara. I really enjoyed that. Great female empowerment song. Thought obviously would be massively elevated with some choreography and dances and that sort of thing, which she didn't have. But it was very sassy, and I really enjoyed her performance. I thought she sold it well.
Yeah, I'm also here for that one as well. And Cooper?
I'm also a Denise stan, but I want to shout out Ghost with Nathan. I haven't heard much buzz about this song. It is a very basic song, but I'm a simple man for a basic, pretty much scanty sounding pop song. It's really good. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah, no, I think Nathan's a bit underrated, actually. I quite enjoy that one. But I am going to give a shout out to my best mate on Twitter, Greta Tude. She shows up, she commits, and actually the excerpt of her video actually looks really fun. And she seems like she's doing a great job with trying to like be funny and have some interesting visuals, which I don't know if all the others are trying for. So I'm actually expecting Greta to show up with like a pretty good stage show on the weekend. But also, she's just great, and it's great to see drag performers getting to this final stage in Malta, and I'm excited to see what she's going to deliver. But that's our thoughts on Malta. As mentioned, there are many, many national finals coming up this weekend, and you can hopefully look forward to another video from us later this week discussing our friends in Spain. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Thanks, Liv. Thanks, Cooper. Thanks, Emma. And we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
See ya.